Hey everybody, this is Yellowkillerbee and this is my submission video for LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7. And this run is replay mode and I am submitting it as a race with Ellipie. And one of the things I want to point out, just as we're kind of in here, is what I'm doing right now is I'm just turning on some of the extras that go along with that specific category. But there's also other things that you can turn on, like making everything Christmas, making everyone wear Santa hats or comedy glasses, or have everyone have carrot wands. Or so yeah, it has some fun like incentive stuff, which would be kind of fun, I think, to have. I've never done a game that has an actual incentive category, so I think that would be interesting. So this game skips a lot of things, skips a lot of cutscenes, which is nice because it makes the game move along. It is an almost 2-hour game, but it is pretty fast paced, so I think it goes fairly quickly. Alright, and 3, 2, 1, and go. So timer starts when you move Harry. So if there was a race timer, that's when it would start. So the LEGO game follows the movies more or less, I guess. It's LEGO, so it does take some liberties. So a lot of what you'll be seeing in this run is just a lot of trying to be very precise, which can be hard. As you can see here, like, I have to jump on a Lego piece that's kind of tilted, and sometimes it cooperates, sometimes it doesn't. There's also going to be a lot of switching between characters, so that's also part of the challenge of this game. There are also a couple, just only 2 really, auto-scrolling parts, so that's nice because that means there's not a ton of downtime, but that means there's a little bit of time to read donations or talk about the dynamics of the game without having to like really concentrate on the run the entire time, because yeah, when you are in the run there's not a lot of downtime to where you don't have to be at least concentrating on part of it. But yeah, so a lot of this is if you look at the upper left, there's like a circle that tells you which character you are, and so every level will have different characters, and sometimes those characters have different powers, and so then you have to switch to the correct character. And so a lot of it is just memorization of like knowing where everything is, because there's a lot of this where you're building things, and so you're just memorizing what you need to build next, but also switching in between the characters. And then a lot of the bricks and just general geometry of the game can be very, very finicky, and so just knowing like the right place to stand, or when you're moving objects like this, putting them in the right place can be very challenging. And then also the AI, so this is a good first example, is like we're all working together to twist these statues to let Mad Eye Moody out of the fountain naturally. And if the computer decides they don't want to turn the statues, then you can lose a few seconds doing that, just because that's like the RNG element of it has a lot to do with the AI that you can't control, but also the AI that you can control, because sometimes they will be following along the way they should be, and sometimes they just aren't. So it kind of adds a little bit. I like it when games have a little bit of RNG, so it's not just like frame by frame skill at every second. So this level has one of the only real like skips, and it's a tiny little cutscene skip that saves a few seconds and is coming up soon. I'm Mr. Weasley here, and he is the only character. He has a special power where he can fix things, because if you remember in the books, like, he likes to fix Muggle technology. So anytime something's blue, that means he can fix it. So I'm going to try to jump. Okay, we didn't quite get it. That's really tough. I've gotten it twice, and at this point, Ella, who I'm submitting the race against, who's the world record holder, is has only done, I don't think she's done it. So it's really hard to get, and it's not necessarily to get a good time, but it is kind of fun because it's one of the only true like cutscene skips in this game. And sometimes there's little cutscenes like this that are not skippable, but they're never very long, so that's nice because you don't have any downtime. So I'm just gonna stay as Mr. Weasley here because there's another thing to fix, and that's something that I'm still learning and getting better at, is just making sure I know who I'm supposed to be next and what spell I'm supposed to have. Oh, and then there's like some giving, so I'm gonna give this to him, and then there's like a giving glitch that we'll talk about in the next level, which saves a little bit of time. It saves a little bit of time and it looks cool, so it's like the best kind of glitch. Okay, with that we're done with this level. And split comes on that screen there. And then with replay mode, because you're just playing each level individually, every time you have to run back and like choose the right Polaroid. And so that's also something that was challenging when I was learning the game, was like making sure you enter the right level. Alright, so I'm gonna be the cat, and Hermione and Ron are the only ones that let you be animals. So I'm gonna do the glitch here, and when you do it correctly you have 2 wands, which is awesome. But it also just shortens up the sequence so that you get out, because normally you like give an item to a guy and then you have to like jump and do a little twirl. And yeah, it's not very fast, so we gotta give it to them more quickly. So by switching to your Lumos spell, that spell has like more of an animation with it, and so it lets you out of the other, it like overrides the other animation. And so we're gonna do that like 3 more times in this level, because you give a lot of stuff to a lot of people in this level. This level is very much all about collecting things. Alright, another thing is when we pick something up, so we try to shoot her more than once because she goes faster if you do, and then we're gonna give and do the giving glitch. And you can see I still have the teapot I was giving to her, and so that's part of the glitch, is that you will duplicate the item basically and still be holding it in your hand. And that part's just fun, that you get to like be holding extra items. Doesn't really save any time to still be holding the item. In fact, it can be kind of confusing because you're like, oh, I hope I actually gave it to her. Or him, but you get pretty used to it. Okay, so I'm gonna grab these flowers and I'm gonna give them to her, and I'm gonna do the giving glitch, and then I'm gonna give this to him and do the giving glitch. And the nice thing about there is it's very important to do, because like otherwise, like when you're giving things to people like all in order like that, it just takes really a lot longer because you have to wait for the animations on each one. Alright, so naturally to get in here you had to put that sign together, because this can't open up until it has a sign. Lego logic. Alright, so this room is very fast-paced. You'll see a lot of these like reading closets. I don't know what they're called. That's what I call them, because Hermione like is the one who knows how to read. And so she's the one who... Oops, I was on the right spell already. And we switched to the wrong spell. That happens. I was thinking 2 steps ahead. But a lot of the rooms that are the most challenging are the rooms like this, where you have to do multiple things in very quick succession, and then also do the giving glitch in between, so you have to like make sure you're on the right spell. See, there I was on the right spell, but I didn't do the glitch correctly, so let's try it again. There we go. We'll do this puppet show. Where Voldemort and Harry Potter fight. And then Harry wins, I guess. Okay. Do it again. And that one's done. So that was pretty good. Alright, and we're on to level 3. So yeah, once you do this long enough, like at the beginning I was always having to look at my splits all the time to figure out which level I was supposed to be going into. So this is a good example of, like, lots of times there'll be specific things you have to break before you can build. And so that's something you have to learn, is like what specific things actually need to be. Oh, okay. Vehicle, please. I'm just trying to dig. Okay. Sometimes the vehicle physics go absolutely nuts in this, and you can lose a lot of time because of it. And part of that is just kind of knowing where you should be standing at any given time. Because really these games are, for speedrunning, a lot more precise than people think, because they're very picky. And so, like, if you're not standing in a correct spot, then either you lose time or you can't do the thing that you're trying to do, because oftentimes, like, you're trying to pick up or turn a very specific thing and you can't, like, you grab something else. Or later on in the run there's what we call everybody's favorite spell, because it's terrible, and it's the water spell, because you have to aim it very specifically, and sometimes if there's something in the foreground it will just shoot at that instead, and so you have to be very careful with the positioning of your characters, or sometimes the NPCs just get in the way and then you have to kind of think on the fly and work around it. So yeah. So that way, that time I did the giving glitch from the other direction. So what I'm doing is, you can see the like colors that surround my picture. See, here's a good example. I'm like trying to shoot that M poster, and I'm right in front of it and still didn't want to shoot it. Sometimes that just happens. So the colored dots that are around my picture in the upper left that you'll see when this cutscene's over, those are the different spells that you have, and they're all color coded. So I need a yellow one to shoot this, the cloud over his head, and I'm switching between them by my shoulder buttons. So a lot of it has to do with, like, which direction are you switching into, and especially when you're doing the giving glitch, like, you can do it from both sides, so you have to keep that in mind. But a lot of it becomes second nature after a while. It's just, it can be tricky for new runners for sure. Also, like, the timing of this game is interesting, because we haven't had anyone actually make a anything for live split that cuts out the loading screens. So right now it's pretty much just dependent on if you have a faster computer, you'll probably have a faster time, but there's not, like, so many runners that it's really a huge deal so far. Okay, like, these stairs right here are a great example of the bad geometry. Like, if you're at a certain point of the stairs, you can't walk up them or you can't jump. So you kind of have to, like, navigate around it. So that's kind of like why I went back and then forward. So yeah, that's a lot of getting good in this game is just small optimizations, like standing in the right spot or walking in the right spot or not getting caught in the wrong geometry. Okay, so right here we're going to do a little optimization where we put the cloak on before the cutscene, because you have to put on your invisibility cloak, and the invisibility cloak, of course, is Harry's special power, and when he uses it, he can walk by this painting, and if you don't have it on, then she shouts at you and you get pushed back. And then we're going to switch to Hermione, because Hermione's the only one that can read. And then we're gonna go back down here. And then this next room is another one of those rooms where you have to do a lot of things at once. So in a way, those are my favorite rooms, but they're also the most challenging. Because you want to make sure that you're shooting everything and doing everything in the correct order. And then also you have to like place these portraits on the wall, and sometimes they just don't want to go in the right spot. Or sometimes like these all are color coded, and sometimes they just click into the wrong spot, and you're like, no! Don't go there! Alright, he wanted to put his cloak on real quick there. For no reason. Another thing to remember is like, after you turn into your animal friend, you have to always remember to switch off of it right away, or else you will turn into your animal friend again and lose a lot of time, because there's a lot of like shared buttons. Even though like the Xbox controller has a lot of buttons, like they share a lot of buttons, and so like it'll be the same button to like build something as it is to like use one of your special powers. And so if you're not on the right spell, you can lose a lot of time. That also goes for the Lumos spell. Oh, so in this screen, you have to wait a lot because there's, you have to wait for this cat to walk through these plates, these decorative plates. There's really nothing you can do to make it go faster. So I was going to show you, like, if you have the Lumos spell out, you walk slow. And you can see if this spell you walk normally. And so once you start to have to swap between that spell, and like later on when Ron gets the Deluminator, he walks very slowly. And so being on the right spell, like having the right spell selected, is very critical, because if not, you can just be like walking around and losing time because your character is extra slow. But at that point, you know, you would lose more time to switch off of the spell. Alright, and through the fireplace we go! Alright, here's another example of having to shoot specific things. Alright, that should be all of them. So we have invincibility on. Oh, this guy's coming up with me. That hasn't happened before. Oh, he decided to run down again. So there's a little optimization there, because you can kind of run into the cutscene instead of just waiting. Alright. And then we're switching to Hermione here because we need to be the cat. She's the only one that can be the cat right now. And there's 2 digging spots because we're collecting pieces here. And I don't know what this is. Like, this is a flower, but it also, like, pushes you upward with air. I don't know what kind of flower does that. Again, straight from the books. You'll find so many things that are just 100% canon. But I don't know, that's part of the fun with like Lego games, is that they have their own sense of fun, and it's almost a shame that you don't watch more of the cutscenes, because a lot of them are really funny. But it would add like so much length to the game that you couldn't possibly do it. Yeah, so here's another one where I need to kill, or I need to shoot all of the mushrooms. I guess it's technically killing them too. And Harry's getting in the way. There's a good example of Harry getting in the way. Okay, that should be enough. Yeah. Oh, here's these mushrooms. Alright, and you can see like the pieces will start to like gather by themselves when you are in the right spot. Okay, here's it. This one, the AI can get in the way a lot. And sometimes you can tip the bike over, and that's bad. So we're really hoping that Harry will not get in our way, but he tends to like walk up and stand right in the wrong place. And that again is like AI, and Obviously the AI can be manipulated by your movements, but sometimes they do just stand in the complete wrong spot. So yeah, because he likes to run up here, but he stayed to the side that time, so that wasn't too bad. Pull a quick Yui there. So yeah, we're basically bringing the ogre back with our bell car, just like in the movie. I mean, I haven't seen the movies in a while, so could be true. I actually read all the books when they had almost all come out. Like, they had come out where it was up to number 6, and so I read 1 through 6, and 7 hadn't come out yet. And so then I had to wait for 7 to come out, and I waited so long that I had to read them all again. And so somehow I avoided spoilers for like 5 years. I don't know. I must be fairly talented at avoiding spoilers if I can manage that. So this level is fun. It's like, it's short and fast, and I tend to like all the levels where you're just doing things very quickly. One of the things about the later parts of the game is there's a lot more dueling, which means a little bit more downtime, which is good if you're streaming it. Because then you can, you know, read chat or donations. There'll be more like time for donations later in the run, which is a good thing. But just for gameplay wise, I tend to like the fast paced. So you'll notice that there's like a lot of studs, which are like the little coins on the bottom. The poor AI, they don't do a very good job of living through this section. Oh, Harry, bye. So there's the studs everywhere, and like if you're doing a casual playthrough, you want to get as many of those as possible. But for this, it's not really a big deal because you they don't really do anything for the speed run. In fact, the speed run, yeah, there's a little bit of unluckiness there because you're you hope you don't get shot by people, but you can't always help it. Kind of the same thing with here where you shoot those. Sometimes they fly all over the place and sometimes they don't. And then you kind of have to grab it from way over there. Alright. So now we're going to do our first duel. And when I duel, I usually duel with Harry, because Harry is one of the few characters that has a full complement of spells. So if you look in the upper left at his picture, you can see he has all of the spells. And so for me, that makes it easier to duel. And part of that reason is, so what we're doing with dueling is, dueling when you're playing it casually might not be apparent what's going on, but basically they're just going around the spell circle kind of in a clockwise direction. But they only do certain ones, and I'm guessing they're the ones that are considered to be offensive, like the ones you could actually duel with. So they skip some of the other ones. So yeah, we can talk more about dueling later because we're gonna try to do a first cycle of this boss. So we're gonna switch over to Harry and we're gonna place him over by this wheel over here because he has to do his part in turning that. And then we're going to play as Dumbledore. We're going to just avoid these fireballs. So what we're trying to do is we have to build a sprinkler up above this dragon. We have to do it fairly quickly. And we're going to stand up here by his tail, wait for the pieces to come down, build the pieces, and then turn this wheel, and then Harry turns his at the same time. So, like, getting that first cycle is not incredibly difficult, but if you miss it, you do lose a lot of time. Also, when you do this very quick, the camera gets confused. So it's like, what are we even looking at? Oh, there's people over here. Okay. That happens a lot too, because the LEGO game doesn't expect you to be as fast as you are. So yeah, this is one of our first like boss fights. But the boss fights are all fairly similar. Basically, you build something or there's an item that comes out and then you throw it at the boss. So the reason that they are kind of tedious is because... Why is Dumbledore not doing his spell? Okay. He's supposed to protect you. So the reason that I find the boss fights are a good time for like donations or chat reading is just because you can't really speed them up too much, but at the same time you do need to pay attention, because if you miss a cycle, that can be a big time loss, which is one of the reasons that this game is good for a race, because even if you're behind, you're never so far behind that you can't catch up, because so many things can go wrong that are kind of outside your control. And with that, we're into year 2. Like, I've had glitches happen where you have to restart the level, and it's never a huge time loss that would make the game run a lot longer, but you can lose like a minute, and in a race, like a minute is definitely enough to have you, you know, be caught up to somebody, so. Alright, so we did this earlier. What we're doing here is just a quick little exploit where after he pulls on the door, you switch to the other character and then back, and that means you're standing up again. So I did a little thing there where you can shoot before the cutscene, which is nice because it saves you a little bit of time. Shot instead of purpling. Alright, and then we just have this. So basically we're just writing this person's home because it was a mess. And then this is a really fun part of the level, although you do have to depend on the AI a lot. So that does make it a little bit hard, but we're gonna try to, we can shoot that third thing. We're gonna try to stack the deck in our favor by moving everyone up here. They like to run away, and you don't want them to run away. See, she ran down there. We want her to come up here as fast as possible, because she lifts that up and then we shoot it. And then there's actually a cycle here that we have to hit, because we're putting the rocket on. Oop, the rocket got stuck. That happens too sometimes. Alright, we still got the cycle, I think. There we go. If it'll go in there. Those rockets are really picky. And then there's another little trick here where if you can run, he's not really standing in the right place, but you can run up here, and then if you can run to the left quick enough, then you'll be right by the door. But I got run over. It's still quicker because you're like closer to the door. But the best case scenario is that you don't get run over, but it's kind of dependent on where they decide to have you stand. So this one is fun because it's exactly like the movie. You'll soon see how. All right, we're shooting that duck. So a lot of this is like when you're giving items to people, like it wants you to stand in a very specific spot, and you can lose some time if you're not standing in the right spot and you accidentally drop it. Best case scenario, you just drop it and then are able to pick it up again. Worst case scenario is you actually like drop it off a cliff or something like that, 'cause that has happened. Alright, clean that up. So now we're cleaning the table. So it is kind of funny because I think his name is Professor Slughorn. It's really bad. I don't know the names of any of the Lego guys. He can turn into a couch, which is a fun special ability that actually does nothing for the speed run except for getting in your way if you like accidentally turn into a couch. It takes up a lot of time. So yeah, this is the classic scene from the movie where Hermione tries to hide in the party and she hides underneath pots and things. I'm sure you all remember that scene. And everyone falls all the time. And then here's another place where we're going to actually use the AI to be a little bit faster because we're going to switch. And then she's a little bit closer to the pieces we need to pick up. Alright. Now this one is the first one where we see the water spell. And you'll get to see kind of how it's the worst of the spells because it doesn't really do a good job of auto-aiming. You almost always have to aim it yourself, which takes time. And then it's just kind of picky-uni at the same time. So we're gonna do the giving glitch again, except we're gonna do it with the washing machine. And the washing machine is great because it always creates like duplicates. I'm trying to knock this down and get this hat out of here. Alright, and pants. So yeah, you can see the pants on the ground there, even though we put them in the washing machine. Alright, so here we have to put out these fires, so that's the first time you'll see the water. I wish it was the last time, but it's not. You have to use the water a lot in this level. This level is actually a little bit RNG heavy because we are having to deal with this vehicle, which you will see very soon. It's also, I think, the first time that you see these spectacles. The spectacles let you see things that are invisible. And so oftentimes there'll just be a pile of Lego blocks lying somewhere, but you can't actually build them until you can see them. Alright, so we're going to use this huge water pump to put out the big flames because you cannot put out the big flames with your regular water spell. So we're basically fixing this vehicle. This jump can be a little tricky. Oh. Alright. And then we're gonna... Nope. So there was an instance of like switching... Okay, and he decided to jump in the fire. So we're switching between characters button and getting on the vehicle button was the same button. And so you have to move away from the vehicle first. Okay, this is tricky and kind of RNG. If I can get over this fire. The vehicle does not like to go. Oh, that was actually really good. And then we gotta switch to the back. Alright. Actually went pretty good. Yeah, getting the vehicle through the fire can be time consuming depending on if it decides to be nice to you or not. Hopefully you wouldn't be like so caught up that you would actually have the vehicle get destroyed, but that does happen. That happens to vehicles and also items where they will just kind of blow up because they're like get in the wrong spot or they get stuck and then they disappear. That was unlucky. I got shot there. Another bit of the RNG is just how much you get shot. You don't actually take any damage because we have all of our specials on so that we don't die. But getting shot does cause you to have like a little getting hit animation, and so then that does slow you down. So you try to avoid getting shot when you're trying to walk somewhere or do something. And there are later levels where there just are a lot of enemies, and it causes you to possibly lose a lot of time if you get shot. So this is another boss fight. This is the first time fighting Bellatrix. And again, we're throwing her items back at her. So this is a quick little exploit here. There's going to be a werewolf that comes out, and it's faster to let him take your character and shake him and then shoot him with another character, because that way, otherwise he will like run all the way across the screen before disappearing, and you have to get him to disappear. I got shot by my own person there. Thanks. Thanks, AI people. So yeah, that can happen too. So yeah, so it's faster just to let him like catch you. So this is another one where if you miss one of those cycles, then it can be bad. And then this third cycle, like they just kind of run all over the place, and like the bad guys are like shooting you, and the werewolf guy is grabbing you all at the same time, and Bellatrix is shooting at you. So you just kind of run around and try to avoid damage because there's nothing you can really do to make it go faster. But it's always going to be like a balancing act between like shooting the bad guys or just trying to avoid them. But you always have to make sure you make the cycle, or else you definitely will be losing time. So yeah, that one can be a little tricky and a little RNG heavy, but you never lose more than like 10 or 20 seconds. It's just, that can be a lot in a speed run, obviously. This is another example of like filling up water in the foreground. It's like you hope that it will be cooperative and not shoot anything but what it's supposed to shoot. So we have to make a potion in this room. And this is another room where there's just a lot of things going on that you can grab and do. Okay, the AI is not super cooperative there. There's just a lot of things going on that you can grab and do, and like you want to make sure that you are only doing the things that you need to be doing. So in this one we make a potion, but it just starts a cutscene. And that's all. Sometimes the potions explode and then they make barriers go away. Oops, I walked into the fire during the cutscene. Okay. Sometimes that would just work. I would have to aim at it. Again, it can be kind of picky as far as where you're standing. And you can aim at things, but you don't want to aim at things unless you have to, because it does take a lot of time to do so. Alright. We are fighting a duel here. Okay, so I can explain a little bit more about duels. So basically you're moving around clockwise, so the next one's going to be orange. And so you always know what the next spell is going to be. The reason I like Harry, and in this one you can only duel with Harry because it's Draco, but the water spell at the bottom is, for some reason they like always win that one. They shoot very, very quickly. And so you have to, like, what I do, because you can beat them, but it's like, it's pretty hard to do so. What I do is just skip that one, and because if you move to the next spell before they do, then they just will skip and go on to the next spell, and so it doesn't take any extra time to do so. And it's just a lot safer, because if you get shot first, then that loses time. So you don't want to do that. And yeah, there's a lot of dueling later on, so you get a lot of practice with it. But you can't just like, it's really easy to be like, oh, I just cannot pay attention because these are just more duels. It's like, you need to pay attention, because if you go to the wrong spell, or if you miss the skip on the blue one, then you're gonna be losing time. Again, the scene in the movie where you duel Draco and then he goes and hides in the bathroom and you have to blow up the bathroom to get him to come out. And then So here's a good example. I'm going to switch to blue, and then he skips it and goes to the yellow one. So that allowed me to like not have to do the blue spell, and I didn't have to worry about being really fast. Sometimes it seems like even if you are really fast, it's still like won't. What am I saying? Even if it's really fast, it still won't let you shoot him first for whatever reason. So at the beginning of this level, there was a bunch of stuff that we kind of got to skip. One of the extras that you can turn on for this category is the extra of super strength. So during the regular playthrough of the game, you would have had to collect items at the beginning to like turn on the super strength, or to get the super strength potion, and then you could pull it. So that saves a little bit of time having that turned on, because you don't have to put that together. You can just go pull it immediately. This is a fun level because it's like not too many things to do in a row that's very stressful, but it's just kind of nice pacing. So this up here is one of the first times we're going to see one of the red walls. And the red walls are interesting. They add a really kind of neat mechanic into playing the game quickly. So you shoot the wall once, and then you walk up to it, and then you can trace an item out, and then it comes out of the red block. So the reason the red walls are kind of annoying is because they don't always like you to trace them. So sometimes you can be... Oh, here's a good example. So this one just decided to disappear and fly up in the air. Lego games! So sometimes the red walls don't like to let you trace them. And then you can stand in front of them and shoot, and then they will like actually bounce off and hit you like your own spell. So that can be really bad, but a lot of that is just learning where to stand. Because some of the walls want you to like address them from the front or from the left or from the right, just the way that they're programmed. Which is silly to think of like, the wall prefers this, but it's true. Like, and it just has to do with... And you just want to be able to get through it as fast as possible without any wasted spells. So in this one, we have to get rid of that plant so we can get through the next part. So we basically just go through all the greenhouses and kill a lot of plants. This level's interesting because that door is there and kind of available. We've done a little bit of testing to see if you could possibly skip through the wall. Especially the fact that you have your friend here with you who can turn into an armchair. And the armchair just takes up a lot of room, so you can actually get yourself like stuck kind of in the wall with the armchair. So it seems like that is a possibility. Personally, I believe that this game probably has a lot of things like that, just because it hasn't been ran by a lot of people. So even though it's getting more optimized with the current strat, it doesn't mean that it necessarily doesn't have a lot of exploits, because the Lego games do tend to be fairly broken games anyway, and so to be able to like jump through some walls would be really nice. So here's a good example of knowing exactly where to be standing when you're shooting. Like that one, it doesn't like it if you jump. If you jump, it shoots too high. But I tend to like to jump and shoot because it takes away the animation. So when you shoot a spell and you're just standing still, that's the slowest. Because when you're standing still, then you do this kind of like wand waving animation. So when you're walking, however, or jumping, then that animation doesn't happen. So it's always best to be either walking or jumping when you're casting a spell, because that way it won't take as long. But it can be tricky because sometimes you're in enclosed spaces or there's like dangerous things around. You don't necessarily want to be walking into bad things. So there's like this mole up here that's doing its thing. So we try to use the time in between to go grab extra items. We gotta put them in the thing here. And switch to the dog. Another quick thing, if you switch to the next character when you're putting something in a cauldron, you can just go ahead and move that other character. You don't have to wait till the animation's all the way done. This game has a lot of those just quick little time saves that make all the difference over the course of a longer run like this. Now we're stealing the spider's ichor while Hagrid cries in the background. I always feel kind of bad for him. Like, ah, poor spider. Apparently someone like gives a speech at that point in the movie, and Ella has the whole speech memorized. She will definitely be the Harry Potter expert, because she's like better at like memorizing what all the movies actually. Oops, I jumped. What the movies actually say. And the names of the characters. I got called out on my stream because I called every goblin was creature. And I'm like, well, no, creature wasn't even a goblin. I'm sorry. So Harry is usually the one to do these. They're like Slytherin puzzles. So, oops. Well, that time the up arrow didn't up arrow. That happens sometimes. So a lot of people think, well, only Harry can do it. But then, at the end of the book series, you find out Ron can do it too. Spoilers. So actually, anytime during the game, Ron can actually do those as well, which is nice, because it's nice to have the extra character that can do it rather than just having one. So for these kind of things, which you do a lot of, it's best just to get it in the general area and try to get it to click in as soon as possible. But they can be a little picky again, so it's tough to have it be as optimized as possible. So this level, I think, is one of the scariest levels, either casually or, I don't know, as a speedrunner, it's probably not as bad as it is casually, but it's still like a little bit nerve-wracking. You'll see why in a second. But until then, we're solving all the very difficult puzzles to get in to where the Horcrux is hidden. I don't know how no one found it by now. There's difficult color matching games. This is the same every time, which is nice. I mean, it's not like it's difficult to memorize, but all of the reading cabinets and Slytherin cabinets are different every time, so you have to pay attention. And with those, it's not usually a matter of like not paying attention. It's more like you try to do it quickly, and like the arrow, you'll press the up arrow and it won't actually move to the correct one that you want to click on. So this is another one where you have to kind of depend on the AI. So I'm trying to do things in a way that makes it the shortest possible way for Dumbledore to walk, because he is old and I want him to do the least amount of walking. So I'm going to make sure I stand on the farthest button every time so that he doesn't have to walk as far. And we're just collecting pieces so that he can do a little bit of drinking. And then the scary part can start. Although in a way, for speedrunning, The very next level is a little bit scarier, but that's just from a speedrunning perspective. Alright, so we're building our water cooler. Our evil Horcrux water cooler. And Dumbledore has to drink 5 of these. So it's Harry's job to defend Dumbledore, and what makes this so challenging is that these zombies don't always want to go away. In fact, they go away much better when you're standing right next to them. So that makes it a little bit scary because you have to like walk up right in the zombie's face. And if you see that one like just decided not to go away. Oh no! We're fine. So if the zombies grab you, like they almost did there, then they'll carry you away and you lose a lot of time. So I'm gonna kill that guy because I don't want him to shoot me. And then there's gonna be another guy who's gonna try to shoot me, but hopefully I can juke all of his spells. Or he'll try to shoot Ginny instead. Alright, and then we'll fill this up. So this level is scary because there's always going to be guys shooting at you, and every time you get hit, you lose time. So that can be really tricky to know, like, when it's worth going out of your way to try to kind of thin the herd of bad guys who are shooting at you, because you can lose a lot of time to that. But then on the other hand, if you spend too much time shooting everybody, you won't be doing what you're supposed to be doing to progress the level. So it's kind of like a happy medium, I think, between just clearing out guys when you can without losing any time. Alright, and that is year 6. So year 7 is the longest year, and it's 2 parts. But even those 2 parts are longer than the first 2 parts. I really like this level, and then this level also has the other auto-scroller in it, so that's fun because it gives you another time for like donations and that sort of thing. We're gonna fix this vacuum. So to make, this is the part where you, like, everyone duplicates themselves into another Harry so that they can fool Voldemort into thinking he doesn't know where Harry went. So, you need a cherry, an apple, and a toupee. And the toupee comes from the vacuum because it's like hair in the vacuum. So I think that's funny. Also important, don't forget to drink the potion. It's easy to forget in this level. And now we are going to get the parts for our scooters so we can get out of here. Or I guess it's a motorcycle with a sidecar. And they're just scattered all over the place for some reason. Hagrid forgot to put it together. Quite the escape this is. Hold on, everybody. We just gotta build our car first. Alright. So then we get a little auto-scroller after this cutscene. And if you're playing this for real, you can shoot these guys. But since we have like our invincibility on and everything, there's no real reason to shoot them. There's nothing really long enough for like a bathroom break, but it's only a 2-hour run. You don't really need a bathroom break. But it is kind of fun to shoot the guys anyway. Or Hagrid. Or just try to run into as many cars as possible. Alright, so now we're doing the Deluminator for the first time. Ron has just received it. So the Deluminator is like used a lot, and it's really annoying. So it's not my favorite special skill. And it basically replaces Ron's Lumos spell. The reason it's annoying is because Ron walks very slow when he has it out, just like a person with a Lumos spell. But also he does this little tapping animation. Okay, so here's another level where the guys like shoot you a lot, and it can be very annoying. But he also does this little tapping animation every time he pulls it out. So you don't want to like take it out and put it away a lot. Like you want to just have it out when you need it out. So here's another level where you just kind of try not to get hit and hope for the best, because there's literally no extra time to be killing these guys. Okay. Sometimes that swan freaks out and does a flip. Anytime you like build a large item, it has the possibility of freaking out and doing a flip, which is really funny, but it's also like, okay, where are you spraying? It also can be like a big time loss. So the humor is lost a little bit when you're like, no, stop doing a flip. Okay, this guy needs to stop shooting me now. I'm gonna hide behind this. Right. So we're basically putting out fires in a bunch of different ways. That can actually save you time if you get shot while he's doing his little tapping animation, because it will interrupt it for you. But that's just luck. It's just wishful thinking that that will happen. So this level has a very interesting beginning and then another duel at the end. And that duel is actually one of the more interesting duels because it does have a small exploit in it. When I was playing this casually, I always like to guess what was going to come out of the red walls, because sometimes it's kind of what it looks like, the outline looks like, and sometimes it's not. So yeah, this is this part's a lot like what actually happens in the movie. The next part, not so much. So yeah, you basically try to walk as short of a distance as possible with his Deluminator out. This is where we put the door to sleep, just like in the book. So in this room there's 2 keys hidden to get in, but it's funny because you can just jump and shoot and it hits the desk, which is where one of the keys is hidden, and the other one's in the shield. And so what we did is we shot the desk with that first shot, which gave us that key, and then the second one was in the shield. So this room is pretty quick, while casually it can be kind of slow because you don't necessarily know where you should be searching. More water spraying. There's a good example of like that could have been optimized by putting that watering can more exactly in the right spot, but that's just something that is a tiny optimization that you kind of figure out as you go where things need to be exactly placed. Oops, went too far on the spell. That can happen. Alright, so we'll build our elevator and then we're down. Actually gonna be Harry here, because I like dueling with Harry, and this has a lot of duels in it. But first, we have to kill these guys, and this is kind of where the walking and shooting comes in handy. Like, you'll notice that I'm just shooting almost immediately instead of taking time to shoot. But that's only because I am not stopping to run. When I'm running, I mean, I never stand still. That will just lose time. Okay, so then you have to jump up here and grab that, and then you can hit her with it immediately without spinning it, which is a nice time save. But you have to stand on the bench and grab it so that you have the right angle. Ron, you could help a little bit. You really can't expect the AI to help. Sometimes they have to help you, and those levels are always a little scary. So you're like, ugh. There you go. Now we're dueling. This is one of the reasons I wanted to be Harry. So yeah, because Harry has the yellow spell, which is one more attack spell that you can use, which means one less chance that you'll have to skip over the blue spell, which is always a good thing. Sometimes that happens where you're not fighting. Never had it happen quite this often. I wonder if it's hitting something in the middle. Okay. There's Lego glitch. We'll just chalk it up to that. So stuff like that can happen, and it's like, it wasn't really anything that I could have foreseen, most likely. It's just like, oh, it's just not going to work. Lego game. Alright, now we're gonna duel her. And this is the cat lady from the movie. I don't remember her name. But I remember in the book she was very, very... See there, we messed up on the blue one a little bit, but that's alright. In the book she was like very, very annoying. And I thought she was super well written because like anytime you like love to hate a character, I always feel like they did a good job writing them. Now we have to run away from the Dementors. Because, you know, because it's like made you feel something. Yeah, so we're basically going to run away from the Dementors. The AI sometimes does not live. Oh, axed to death. Sorry, Hermione. Oh, you died again. So this one has a really interesting boss fight. I mean, in a way, it's like similar to the other boss fights just in form, but it has enough variation to make it interesting. Oh, that happened to me before too. Don't get killed by the falling pipes, children. So this level, basically you're melting these gravestones so you can read them, and you melt them with basically every kind of method they could come up with. So they're like, oh, let's blow steam on it, let's put a furnace on it, let's put some salt on it. But yeah, you're supposed to read all of them, but it's as long as you clear all of them off, it's always the last one that you read. So if you get the cutscene there, then you know that you've done it correctly. And that you've cleared all of them off. So normally, when it's winter, you don't want to pour a bunch of water on your fire. Unless it has pieces inside. And what's the natural thing that you think you're going to need if you need to clear a path? Huge fake teeth. Okay, it's stuck. It's going to disappear. Again, Lego. Just like in the movie, fake teeth. Alright, so now we're going to have a little boss fight. There's some places where you can hide so you don't get hit by the snake venom. Snake venom is not a huge deal, but it can cause you to lose a little time because when you get hit, they kind of do this eye rubbing animation. There's another snake fight later in the game, which is a little bit different, but it's the snake venom's the same. So yeah, you basically want to avoid getting hit at all costs. So this is what I like about this fight, is like you're going through this room, and then once you like make him swallow items, then you push him with your powers. So this one, there's no like safe place to hide, so you just have to dodge so that you don't get hit. I find it easiest just to jump. I do appreciate how they try to switch it up so you're not just always grabbing items that are coming out of cupboards and things. So this fight has a safe spot over here. And it's not like you couldn't just dodge all of the snake venom, but especially this room, like you really don't have a lot of room to dodge. So if you can just like hide somewhere in the corner, it just is a lot safer. And doesn't really lose any time because you can't grab any of these items until they get that purple aura around them. So... And also like how long you spin the items is kind of a thing too. You kind of do this silent 3 count in your head, but you definitely don't want to push it because to have to spin it again loses a lot of time. So it's better to spin it a little bit too long and just play it safe. So this level is interesting because it's the only swimming level. It's probably one of the better swimming levels in 3D platformers, and that's partially because they're like, how are we going to handle this swimming level? Let's just make it like more or less 2D. Like, so because they made that decision, it makes this swimming level fairly straightforward, while sometimes swimming levels in 3D platformers can be like your least favorite level. Instead, this is just a very straightforward level. So I appreciate their design choices. One of the later levels is a 2D platformer that's not a swimming level, and it's actually a lot more annoying. So yeah, maybe they should have had more of these. That's what I'm saying. You never thought you would ask for more water levels, but that's exactly what I'm doing. So what we're doing here is we gotta get the sword, and basically what is a fairly short, straightforward scene in the book is now a very long swimming level. It's not super long, but it's a lot longer than what happens in the book. Because we have to get the sword to defeat this Horcrux. And the sword is like not only underwater, but also encased in ice. So when I first started running, these were like my least favorite things. These are very picky as far as where you place the hammer. But there's only 3 of them, so it's not too bad. Alright, so now we have a little bit to do out here, and then we get to start the Horcrux fight. The pieces just flew all over. I love that. I can never be like too mad when the pieces fly all over because it's like, it's annoying from a speedrunning perspective, but it's just still so funny. So it's like, I can't be angry. Can't be angry at you, Lego game. This is one of the few where you actually lift yourself up because they know that you can't bring the other character over there. Normally on the platforms like that, you have to wait for the AI to kind of come and lift you up. Red, green, yellow, blue. Getting diagonals like that is actually bad AI or bad RNG because it's harder to switch. So we're switching to Ron because he's the one with the sword. In the book, he's the one that does the stabbing. Alright, so there's like good, you can get good RNG for this if all the spiders come to one side. In fact, the first time I ever played this game casually, I got the best spider RNG you could get. Because obviously if they all stay on one side, it's much quicker. Alright, so we're building this. It gets a little challenging because you're being blown while you're building it. So what we're going to do is they spawn off these tornadoes, and if they touch this flower fan contraption, it will cause it to explode, and that's a big time loss. So we just want to make sure that none of those actually reach us. Right, and then this fight is done. What you were blowing away there was actually naked Lego Hermione and Harry. It's not PG. I can't believe it made it in this game. So this is a lot of runners' least favorite level. It just has a lot of finicky things. It has a really long 2D section, which is the one that I mentioned before. But this beginning part's actually pretty fun. I don't really mind this at all. So we want to be Hermione here because she has the Lumo spell and she can also get her cat out, which we need. And then she is the only one who can have her magic bag, which we need. That's the one bad thing that, well, the one bad thing. The other bad thing about the Deluminator is that it takes away Ron's Lumo spell, which is really annoying because then anytime you have to do Lumos, which is like the light spell, you have to switch away from Ron, which costs more time. Alright, so we're just going to do a quick putting together of this lever. And then I like to switch to a different person that's closer to the stairs. And now we're into this section, which this section is actually, like, it's kind of cool. Because it does, you know, it's like the part in the movie where it story tells about the three brothers and the Elder Wand and death, and somehow I'm not actually on there. There we go. Come on, AI. Okay. Again, you have to wait for the AI to lift you up. So, but it's like 2D in the same way that, like, Little Big Planet is 2D, except not as well done. Like, because there still are, like, foreground and background planes that you still have to deal with, if that makes sense. So, like, a lot of times you will find yourself getting stuck on the geometry of things, even though there shouldn't be any way to get stuck on the geometry of things. So I just tend to jump a lot. So in these sections you put on the invisibility cloak, and these are really picky too. That was pretty good. Oh, okay, so this is a good example of, so I got killed and then it spawned me really far back. For some reason. For whatever reason. Like those owls, you can definitely get stuck on all the time. Very easily. Oh, I'm stuck on these reeds. There we go. It's just really hard to tell what plane you're in at any given time. The windmill will kill you. Which isn't the end of the world, but it does take up a little bit of time. You have to wait for it to stop, or else it extra kills you. Also, it doesn't really matter which brother you are when you run into some of these, because you have to get blown back before it will let you do it. Like, even if you know what's coming, you have to actually get blown back and then it will let you go through. These are really picky. So this is always a possible time loss. Also, the fact that there's like multiple levels of foreground makes it kind of hard to target things in this level. So overall, this level is like always like kind of a possibility of time loss. But with practice, it can definitely very much improve how smoothly everything goes. Death tries to fool you. Ah, you will not fool me with this death. Look at you. I'll fix your bridge. Alright, so now we'll shoot more gold bricks. We'll build things. We will make this person come awake. Unfortunately, we have to wait for the cycle. Missed the elevator. Our ghost friend is doing a lot of twirling. The door. The door was blocking the path. Apparently Death is also afraid of spotlights. So that's fun. It's especially important with the this elder spell that you walk as much as possible, because that animation is really long. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm continuously walking the whole time so that I don't lose any time to his long spell animation. I don't think you can get into that until it cooperates with you. Lots of times there's always just stuff in the way. Alright, same as before. Switching to Hermione so we can get up the stairs. And then there's just two things you have to do here. You have to blow open that closet and then grab this key. And that is one of the longest levels in the game. But it's done. Alright, and now we are almost done with Year 7, Part 1. This level is really interesting because it's the level where they throw you in the dungeon and then you don't have any wands, so you actually don't have any of your spells. It makes it kind of tricky because, especially for Ron, because Ron still has a Deluminator and he still has his owl. Both of those spells can cause a significant amount of time loss if they're used incorrectly. So basically you are trying to not lose time with Ron. That should be the subtitle of this whole level. Trying to not lose time with Ron. Alright, so we're gonna go over here and knock this down. Pick this up, and then we're gonna switch to this lady. She's gonna come back over here and build this. It just takes a long time for those to come out, so sometimes I like to do something else while I'm waiting. Like the blocks have to jump around a little bit before they're ready to be built. Okay, so now we have all the ingredients we need for our potion. Which again, I think it's another exploding potion. We want to be hairy here because we're going to be fighting soon and we have a Slytherin wall. So green, red, yellow, blue. So that'll give us the pieces for our mirror. And for once, just like in the book, mirror is how you get out of the dungeon. So this is kind of like another combination boss fight duel, except you're dueling Draco? Who's that? Malfoy. Yeah. Mixed up his last name. And Bellatrix at the same time. We have someone in my chat who's a big fan of Bellatrix. Always hates that she inevitably is defeated. Like, well, she shouldn't have been a bad guy. Just saying. But yeah, this can be a little tricky because you are, again, dodging and also fighting these guys at the same time. Again, the only important thing is that you catch this purple block. It does not matter how many times you get hit or how many bad things happen before then, but you must catch the purple block. If you do not, especially on this level, you lose like a minute. It's a lot of time. But sometimes things happen and you will almost miss it, and sometimes you have to switch to your other character in order to save it, because you'll just get hit by something or shot and you won't expect it. So you have to be really on your toes in this section. And these are especially annoying because they leave like burning places on the floor. So you can't even walk over them like afterwards. Luckily, once you grab the purple things, you can't get hit like while you're spinning it. That's like the one saving grace. If you could get hit like while you were spinning something, that would be very, very, it would make it really, really hard to get it first cycle every time. So I'm thankful that that is not the case. This one she throws both purple items in a row, which is nice because it makes the fight go faster. And we have one more duel. So you can see, especially here, so you'll see I'm on red, and then the next spell is blue. So I'm going to switch to blue, and then instead of doing blue, she does yellow. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can see the spells up in the upper left. And we're just kind of going around in a circle, and that's how you can tell which spells are coming next. And that is part 1. We only have one part left, Year 7 Part 2. And this has a lot of interesting mechanics and rooms in this part of the game. It does also have a lot of duels, which is part of the reason that it's probably the longest portion of the game. But as you're kind of ramping up to the end of the game, it makes sense that they would want to, you know, have a lot of fights with the big bad guys. So I lied. This is another auto-scroller. However, you are supposed to be doing something during this one. Pretty much we're just spamming shoot. Because we need to hit 5 of these signal lights, and that will change the track so that you go the way you need to go. One rotation is absolutely necessary, but if you don't hit all the signal lights, you will do 2 rotations. That is bad. You never want 2 rotations, but as long as you just kind of spam the shoot button, it normally will hit all of them by itself. So, not like it's challenging, but you don't want to totally zone out either. Usually not a good plan. Alright. So here we have to ring the bell so that the dragon gets sad, I guess. Ella explained it to me, and it didn't sound okay. The dragon hit the hammer. You know how in like speedruns funny because they say, oh, that's never happened before, and you're like, oh, what a marathon thing to say. It's like, with Lego games, you say that every single time, just because it's always true. We ran over Harry. So the dragon doesn't like the bell, and so then the fire gets put out, so we can go to the next room. And this is an interesting room because this is the room, the vault where they have all the fake cups, and it's kind of fun how they did it. So a lot of this is going to be Hermione because there's a couple of these bag platforms, I guess. But there's also going to be the first appearance of the goblin opening the locks, which is interesting because the goblin doesn't have any other spells. So that just means there's a lot of character switching because you can't really streamline everything into one anymore because the goblin can only do one thing. Goblin's only good for one thing. Opening locks, that's it. So now we're gonna switch to Harry, because as far as this room's concerned, the only thing Harry's good for is speaking parcel tongue. Can't believe I remember that. We're pulling the Harry Potter facts. And it does have you like touch the different cups, which is really fun. Alright, so now we're gonna switch to the goblin, and he brings the light down. And it's also kind of annoying because you have to switch through everybody. There's no way to switch backwards through the characters. So that's just something you have to take into account. So basically we brought the light up so that those plants would go away. And then we have to switch back to Hermione. Now that she can get up here, and that's where the real cup is, and then she pulls the sword out of her bag, and then the cups are still jumping everywhere, which is really funny. Alright. And now we're releasing the dragon so we can fly away. So again, we're facing the challenges of a lot of locks, a lot of deluminators. One time I had one of these hammers get in front of the lock to the extent where the goblin would not open the lock. Which is unfortunate. Alright. Kind of like now, but not as bad. Okay, that should be the last lock, so at least I don't have to worry about that. Back to... Oh, never mind. One more lock. He's having trouble because there's stuff in front of it. Oh, he's just going to turn it from over there. That's close enough. Alright, and then we let go this last chain, and then we get to ride a dragon. So basically there's a system to this where you're shooting these guys, and you have to shoot a certain amount on this side, and then switch back and shoot a couple more. And if any hide, that means you did it a little too slowly. Which one did hide, so, but that was still pretty fast. And then you don't get to see the cool cutscene where you fly away on a dragon, but you can just imagine it in your mind. Alright, back to school. Some of these end levels are really cool locations. And some of them have like kind of better platforming than is in the rest of the game. However, this level is also known as the screaming level and is probably one of the more annoying ones. Mostly because, well, they're screaming in the background at all times, which is why. I guess to like make it up the suspension, or the suspense of everything. But also, like, usually this level takes a lot longer than it takes for me to do it, and even I get sick of the screaming by the end. The other thing about this level is there just are a lot of guys that shoot you all the time when you're trying to do good things and they're shooting you. It's really annoying. Like that. Alright. So we're gonna switch to Harry. I'm gonna pick up his flowers. And then I'm gonna switch to Hermione. So yeah, this is like another level where you don't have a lot of downtime in between everything you're supposed to be doing. So basically it's just doing everything as quickly as possible, but this time it's like, and they're screaming at the same time. Also, this part, you never get to pick up this popsicle first try. It always disappears, which is like very frustrating because you're trying to go as quickly as you can and you always have to wait for the popsicle. Sometimes your friends provide like a shield for you, which is really nice, but you can't always depend on them to do that because sometimes they do not stand in the right spot, or sometimes the bad guys just don't shoot them, they want to shoot you instead. So basically we're just waking up the students in every way possible. It's like when the Lego people were writing this game, they were like, what is all the different ways you can do? Fill in the blank. And then they're like, well, let's try them all. Alright, so we woke up the students, now more duels. This is our first Snape fight. And also, fun fact about this level, it's the only level, I believe, that you can play also as Professor McGonagall. These games do make really good two-player or co-op games. Of course, co-op speedruns are a little bit harder to come by if you are not living close by another speedrunner. But casually, of course, there's always that option. And they're like good games to play with little kids. Like, they're fun to play with people who know what they're doing, but it's also fun to play with littler kids that may not be so great at games because you don't actually, like, there's really no like penalty for dying. So you can just take as long as you want in most casual places. Obviously not in the speedrun. So yeah, Professor McGonagall is right here. She's just watching me fight Snape and not really helping at all, but okay. You just relax. One thing I'm happy about is he always throws just 3 things. Lots of the other bosses will throw increasingly larger numbers of things. I appreciate that he doesn't want to do that. Also, fun fact about the duels, it seems to be faster if you start on the outside. I don't know who shot me, I guess he did. If you start on the outside of a dueling ring, you can walk into it right away. Sometimes if you start on the inside of dueling ring, it will like push you out so that you have to come in from the outside. And I don't know if that's like a programming thing where they're like, we couldn't figure out how to start the duel from the inside. But really what you want to shoot for is just the outside, the very outside of the ring. And it doesn't seem to be on like every single one. Just some of them are like that. Okay, so burning bridges is very literal. It is actually about burning down a bridge or making it explode, which I find to be a very fun and interesting level, but it also could be a frustrating level because there's a lot of placement of items, which can be annoying. But first we have to do this part. So we're gonna do this puzzle, and the pieces went all over the place. In this puzzle, you have to know where birds and clouds and sun go. So one time when I was doing this, I did get items stuck, but I think it's one of those things that can be mitigated with the right placement of your character. So I found if you stand more off to this side, yeah. So one time I got this hammer stuck in the corner so much that it like would not come out. And it was a sad day. Because stuff like that can make you lose a lot of time and there's not a lot you can do about it. So this is a section you get to skip because that's the potion that makes you strong. Since we're strong anyway, we're just gonna go straight to here. We're gonna put together this acid gatherer, I guess, is what it is. We're really unlucky with this fire that's falling all over the place. Alright, so this is my sometimes favorite level, sometimes not, depends on how it goes. But it just has a lot of interesting platforming spots, and then also the ever-present danger of possibly falling. So these are interesting because they don't bounce you till they're fully formed. That can cause you to die at random times because you expect to bounce and then you don't. So we're gonna kind of go a different route here. I'm gonna just jump down instead, and then that way I can come down here from the top, which is a little bit faster. You still have to put these platforms up, but not too bad. Watch out for spiders. So basically we just kind of went in a little circle there. This is one of the harder ones to trace for me. I don't know why. It's like a moth shape. Something about the head is really weird. Also, I think it's funny that they have this recurring moth versus spy, or moth versus spy. Spider versus moth. And they, like, sometimes the spider wins and sometimes the moth wins just throughout the game. Speaking of glitches, one time that spider web would not bounce for no reason. Okay, so we're almost done. We just gotta put out these fires. And then we're gonna dig. So he's like one of the only characters that just digs for himself and does not have a animal friend. Oh, the AI actually moved out of the way for me. That barely ever happens. Usually they stand in the worst spot possible. That's their main MO. Where can we stand that will be really annoying? So now we're gonna use what I think is the first time we're gonna use the sticky shoes. And those are Weasley wears, only Weasleys can wear them. Which I do like the whole Weasley box thing that only Weasleys can do because they make use of like several different Weasleys in the game. So it's not like just Ron all the time, which is fun. So you'll notice like I put away the Deluminator, and even though I have to go through this animation of taking it out again, it still is 100% worth it because he walks so slow with it out. Even though you have to see that little animation twice, it's still vastly faster. So this room, in some ways, is one of the most glitchy rooms in the thing. First of all, Hermione just kind of fell over there for no reason. So hopefully she's gonna catch up pretty quick. And then this drill comes out, and sometimes it cooperates and sometimes it bounces all over the place. This time it cooperated. However, like, it seems like if it hits another character, it cooperates more, which doesn't make any sense. Normally, if it hit another character, you'd think it would cause it to bounce around more, but sometimes it comes out and it flips around and it falls into the water and has to respond. And basically, there's nothing you can do about that. Also, this room is very dentist related because there's a drill and a pliers, and they're removing a tooth. They'd call this the dentist level. Alright, Fiendfyre Frenzy. This one has probably the most interesting platforming section in the game, I'd say. At least one of them. But first we get to do some puzzling. So this is one of the first times you have just Hermione and Ron together. So we have to put something in the cauldron right away, because there's only 2 of you, and so you can only lift so much. It doesn't really matter who grabs what, as long as you're putting things in the cauldron as fast as you possibly can. But it's nice if you end up with Hermione here, because you have to go right to one of these reading cabinets. Ah, another not so much misclick as not being able to control where the cursor is going. That was just a misclick. Potion, stars, hat. Okay. This is another instance where you have to depend on the AI to lift you up. We need to build the catapults. Not for the last time in this game. I like that part because you don't have to walk very far with the Deluminator, so it's not slow you down too much. You had to light up the feast so that the guards would come and get distracted. They're not very good guards. Easily distracted by food. Now you're Harry. Now he's back. So I never knew what triggered the next part of this, but apparently you have to look at that statue with the tiara. I didn't know that, and I was just waiting for the next scene to come on, and it took forever. So here you just jump onto the fire. And if you can get hit less times, then it's the best. So yeah, there's one jump later on that's like a pretty tight jump that you have to make over the fire, and if you can do it first try, then you usually save time. So we're gonna just leave Hermione behind. Try not to get burned by too much fire. Okay, so here's the jump up here, but you have to wait for this cutscene first. And basically, you're climbing up all these piles of stuff that's being stored. Okay, we saved it. Yay for geometry. Okay. And so you can only move forward like as quickly as things are being revealed in front of you. And this is also one of the more complex red puzzles, but it's also fun because you can do it pretty fast. It doesn't have any weird shapes, it's just a lot of back and forth. And we're at the top. Alright, so that was a really fun platforming section, followed by a really, really annoying section. So basically we're putting together these water pumps. The problem is you have to fill the water pumps. If you didn't have to fill the water pumps, it'd be no problem. But you do have to fill them, and because you have to fill them, then filling them is the hardest part. There's just so many things to shoot. Green, red. Oh wait, it wasn't green, red. It was yellow, red. Process of elimination. Alright. So you see how everyone's like standing around? That's not good because you will be shooting them instead of the water pump. So if someone, really if anything's in front of the water pump, whether it be a broom or one of the characters, like, it's not good. You want to be shooting the water in and only the water in, and it just doesn't always cooperate. Okay, right now he's not shooting. He did not want to do it. He was on strike. Okay. Like here, everyone's standing in front of the water, so I have to like spray them out of the way. Get out of the way, everybody! But you do get to ride on brooms on this level, and so that is pretty fun. I appreciate and enjoy that. Alright, second to last level, Snape's Tears. The second part of this level's fairly technical with a lot of switching, but it's short, so it's not too bad. And you get to collect Snape's Tears, which is fun. This part of the level, let's just say, I'm gonna do marathon safe strats. There's like one way that you can do it where you take a big risk and you kind of leave characters behind, because at the end of the level you only need Ron and Harry. You don't need Hermione, and so you can leave your characters behind and only try to go with the people that you need. But it's very scary because if one of the characters you do need gets left behind, then you lose a lot of time. So I think we're gonna do marathon safe strats, just to be safe. So this level has a lot of like positioning of the AI to try to get people in the right spots. Okay, we're gonna want to be Hermione right now because there's gonna be a Hermione bag platform. And this is another example of a section where it's good to kill off the bad guys, but you have to kind of pick your battles. Also, Ron is fairly useless for this whole level until the end because he's scared of spiders, and so anytime there's a giant spider on the screen, you can't do anything. Like literally, if you're Ron, you just see how he's like huddling there. And so obviously it's not worth it to try to like kill all the spiders so you can use Ron. So basically you just kind of ignore Ron and just try to go as fast as you possibly can without him. But then you need him at the end, so you can't just totally leave him behind. My precious catapult! I worked so hard at that! So I'm kind of trying to clear these spiders out and stuff, just because we're going to need to have Ron do stuff in a little bit. I'm kind of hoping I can maybe manipulate him a little bit. The first character we'll need to use is Harry. He's still scared of something. Oh, there's a spider there. So we're gonna kill this spider. And we're gonna come up here and we're gonna hope that they follow pretty quick. Alright, I see people. Okay, we should be good. That was fairly fast. So that was good luck because he came up after me. I didn't have to switch to him, which is always annoying. So basically what we're doing here, and Hermione came too, which is also good. So what we're doing here is we have to sneak by this ogre. This is, okay, so I got it where it came back and hit me. This is one of those red walls where it seems to like being shot on the left side for some reason. Also, ogres love music. Of course they do. Okay, we're gonna try to switch to Ron, but he's probably going to be scared. Yeah, there's spiders right there. So we have to kill the spiders first. Alright, that wasn't too bad. And this is like the only thing Ron does in the whole level except for the beginning. It'd be a lot easier if you didn't need Ron for the end, but you do. And now we're going to be collecting Snape's tears. Alright, he's just going to fall off there. That was not on purpose, but now he's down there. We don't need him, so it didn't matter. We'll just drop him off edge. We actually need Hermione for this next part. So you need to switch between two people anyway. Because again, Hermione's the only one that knows how to read. However, Harry's the only one who knows the yellow spell, which is also needed here. I like how you need to make a boat to get through this tiny little section. Alright, so I always do this part with Harry because he needs to shoot this as soon as possible. Except when his spells don't work. Oh, I have the water one on, that's why. Right. And then he needs the Illuminator. And again, the goal is always walk as little as possible with the Deluminator. Or just in general, but especially with the Deluminator. Sometimes that spider in the foreground can get in the way of all of your water, but it cooperated this time. So basically, we're doing all this, blowing up a fish, just in order to get this bucket, because we have to have something to put Snape's tears in. Once we get the tears, then we're on to the last level. So this first part of the last level is really fun because you get to do like some switching between characters, you get to make a potion. It does have some bad guys that kind of shoot you and get in the way, but hopefully we'll get some good RNG. Won't get shot too much. Maybe the AI will take some hits for us. Maybe that's too much to hope. Alright, so far so good. Okay, we did get shot once, but we are already done, so didn't matter. So if you get shot when you're putting your thing in the potion, it will not work, and it's really hard to see if everything got in there. So that's kind of can be a very tricky portion. This is another part where you your time is dependent on how many times the bad guys shoot you. So far we've been having good luck. We'll see if that continues or not. Oops, I forgot I had to build this bridge. Jumped off the bridge. No, I did jump off the bridge. So I came back really fast, and that was because I have fast fall on. That's one of the extras we're allowed to have. However, because I fell off, I did trigger in some enemies a little bit earlier than they normally would have been triggered in, which is not a good thing. That guy didn't hit me, that's good. Sometimes he hits you basically in the air, which is annoying. Alright, that's good. And we have our Bellatrix fight. But of course, before we fight Bellatrix, we have to kill a bunch of these guys. But the faster you can kill them, the faster it will go. And of course, we don't have the option to be Harry in this duel. And it's more canon to fight as Mrs. Weasley, who I guess her name is Molly. I was told that in one of my notes. I'm learning so much about Harry Potter, you guys. I mean, I don't want to act like I've never seen a Harry Potter movie. I have seen all the Harry Potter movies. I just have a hard time remembering people's names. Which I think is reasonable to not remember it. There's a lot of characters in the Harry Potter movies. And some of them even sound kind of similar. Alright. So if the water spell is the first spell, it doesn't go very fast. Which is good, because that way, like, it would be an instant loss for you if they ever did water first. So that was good. But for whatever reason, the water spell is the fastest one that they shoot. And I don't know if it's, like, supposed to be that way, just to make the duels seem more exciting. They're like, we're gonna put one spell that they'll probably almost definitely win every time. Alright, one more round of baddies. And then we'll be on to the last room, basically, the last area. Which is like a combination Harry Dumbledore fight, and see how it like kicked me out of the circle there? Combination Harry Dumbledore fight and also Hermione and friends. Hermione and company fighting a snake. Alright, one last hit. Alright. So I always do this fight with Hermione. There's a couple things that we need to remember. Well, one is to try never to get hit by the venom, which we discussed earlier, because it does lose a lot of time. The other thing is there's going to be a lot of spiders in the first round of enemies. Oh, see, I got hit by the venom. It's going to cause me to lose a little time. See, it's a really long recovery period. The other thing is, like, the enemies get progressively, like, they get added in waves. So the first wave is just spiders, and then it's Death Eaters and spiders, and then it's Dementors and Death Eaters and spiders. So you want to, like, make sure to switch to your Dementor spell for the third one. And there's 2 white spells, which can be very confusing. So one time I did lose a bunch of time because I switched my other white spell, which is the Lumos spell, which scares away plants. Dementors and plants are not the same. Just so you know. But the nice thing about the Dementor spell is it pretty much kills everything. It doesn't only kill Dementors. So that means you can use it for everybody and you don't have to like switch back and forth. Alright. Very last part. Very exciting fight with Voldemort. And then we switch back to Hermione, and you basically you kill one Death Eater, one Spider, one Dementor, and then it switches back to your fight with Harry and Voldemort. So especially for the first 2 waves, it's really important that you try to kill everything as soon as possible. So I'm like shooting across the whole map to try to kill things. But it doesn't actually always switch back right after you kill everything. Like if you do it too quickly, then it's like, oh, we need to take a while to load. Especially for the 3rd wave. So just because you kill everything as fast as you possibly can doesn't mean that you're actually gonna load in faster. Some people say switching between characters makes it go faster. I guess it gives you something to do. Ooh, this is the last hit. And time. And then you get a great cutscene of Voldemort floating away into 1,000 pieces. Only cutscene you really get to watch, and it's a pretty good one. Cause he's like, you have the Elder Wand. She's like, no, don't keep it. No. And then I like this, because he throws it on the ground, and then the janitor comes up like right away and is like, this kid's always putting mess everywhere. So that is Lego Harry Potter Years 5 through 7. Replay mode is the category, and I would love to submit this as a race between Elapai and myself. We've both been working on it, and I think it would be really, really fun. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for your consideration. Have a wonderful day.